So let's talk about some of the nutrients, because these really are, in my opinion, these are keys for diabetes. So what are the biggest keys to reversing, diabetes? And really, when I say reversing diabetes, I'm really talking about type 2 and gestational diabetes more than I'm talking about autoimmune diabetes. Those are very challenging conditions. They can be improved. You can reduce your need for insulin, but the likelihood that you're going to reverse or cure that disease with diet and lifestyle change is very, very slim. But type 2 diabetes and gestational diabetes are completely reversible. Don't let anyone ever tell you any differently. These are diseases of lifestyle. So what are the lifestyle factors that we want to understand that are super important? And so number one is movement, exercise. We'll talk about why in just a minute. Number two is sunshine. Number three is adequate sleep. Okay. Number four is the right food. Number five has to do with chemical exposures, because these chemicals can oftentimes, these exposures to different chemicals also found in food, actually, depending on what you're eating, can create inflammation that can set you up, for diabetic tendencies. So these are five big ones. And then number six is over here is nutrition status. So vitamins and minerals, adequate quantities of vitamins and minerals. So let's go through this. Why exercise? Well, to understand exercise, you have to understand how blood sugar actually works. So let's do this. Let's draw you an image here. So what I'm drawing, that's too big. Let's make it smaller. I'm drawing you a diagram of, it's a very simplistic breakdown. So what happens, this is the tube of the lumen of the gut, right? So food's coming this way, and some of that food is broken down in your GI tract, and it's dumped into your blood, and in that we have glucose. So glucose dumps into your bloodstream, and when you get glucose in your bloodstream, it sends a message to your pancreas, and your pancreas is supposed to respond by producing insulin. Okay, and then insulin will traverse to a cell, to a keyhole, if you will, on the cell. So this is a cell. And insulin will snap into that receptor, and that will send a message through your cell. And there's a specialized door on the surface of your cells called a GLUT door. We'll just, for simplicity's sake, call it a glucose door. Okay, and so what happens is, let's back it up just a minute. So step one is what you eat. You're eating food that has glucose in it. Step two is that hits your bloodstream. Step three is that glucose, once it's in your bloodstream, messages your pancreas. Your pancreas responds in step four to produce insulin. Step five is insulin talks to the receptor. This is an insulin receptor. Step six, that message is transmitted across the cell, and it opens up this door. Step seven, that glucose comes into your cell, because now it can get in, because that doorway opened. Before, when that door was closed, glucose was trapped in your bloodstream, and this is why blood sugar goes up. So once you get that glucose into the cell, you can turn it into energy. So you can turn it into cellular energy, otherwise known as ATP. And so this is a process that has to happen. It happens in everyone. Okay, and so this process, when you understand this process, you can now understand why sleep, we'll talk about why sleep, sunshine, exercise, and all those become very, very important. But before we jump into those, I want to plug in some of these nutrition issues, because these are nutritional complications. If you're not eating adequate quantities of nutrients, you can develop diabetes even if you're exercising perfectly, even if your diet is dialed in, even if you're getting plenty of sunshine and adequate sleep. So let's define where nutrients fit into this cascade. So right here at step 3, that step requires vitamin D. On the surface of your pancreas, you have more vitamin D receptors than on any other organ or tissue in the body. And these receptors require vitamin D. That's how your pancreas understands that it needs to produce insulin. So you've got to have adequate vitamin D for this message of glucose to communicate to your pancreas. And if you don't, all by itself, vitamin D deficiency can contribute to elevations in blood sugar. Insulin is a peptide, or it's a protein, right? And so the core or the center of insulin is zinc. Now you also need vitamin B12 to help the production of insulin, and you need magnesium to help in this as well. So you need these 3 nutrients to get insulin, but zinc is the most critical. Zinc is super important for the production of insulin. It holds insulin together. It's like the glue that binds insulin together. And then once you have insulin, you have this insulin receptor that it attaches to, and the insulin receptor is actually made out of vitamin B3 and chromium. And without those 2 nutrients, you can't form or properly produce insulin receptors, okay, which means that this message never gets through to open this door. But something else you need to understand is that this message is done by, there are certain things that help with this message, and one of them is calcium. You need calcium for this message to work. You also need a B vitamin compound called inositol. Is very important for that message to traverse the cell also. So you need these nutrients to open that door, and then once glucose comes into the cell, it's then got to be basically stripped down and harvested into energy. And those of you that ever took biochemistry, you may remember a process called TCA, or Krebs cycle. That cycle requires iron and copper. It requires all the B vitamins. It requires CoQ10. It requires magnesium. So it requires all these nutrients, again, to get at that final step, which is ATP, or energy. So if you're low in any of these nutrients, it's going to impact or affect the way your body is either capable of regulating the sugar in the blood or generating energy from that sugar, which is what our bodies try to do. And this is one of the reasons why so many people go keto. This is how we use glucose as energy, right? Carbohydrate. How we burn fat as energy is a very different story. And so what happens a lot of times when people have overconsumed carbohydrates for so long, this whole process is broken, their blood sugar's up, they quit eating glucose, they reduce their carbohydrates, and their body starts burning fat as fuel instead. This is why it can be a kind of a catch gap or a stop gap for diabetes, and why so many people go keto and lose weight and they improve their blood sugar. It's because they're bypassing these steps. But my point is, you don't necessarily have to go keto if you look at these things and ask better questions, right? So knowing that you need these nutrients, the vitamin D, the chromium, the magnesium, the zinc, the B vitamins, the CoQ10, like all critical to be able to regulate blood sugar and to be able to get access to blood sugar. And what we know is that gluten can cause deficiencies of all of these nutrients. It's very well studied, very well documented. If you took my master class, I spent an hour, almost 2 hours on this topic of how gluten causes vitamin and mineral deficiency. And so we know this is one of the reasons why a gluten-rich diet can contribute so readily to to blood sugar abnormalities and blood sugar problems. So these are all nutrients. Now, I mentioned earlier, I said we get back to this. Where does exercise play a role in this? What does exercise have to do with any of this? Well, one of the things that exercise does, it improves, let's use that color, it improves the sensitivity of insulin. So it helps insulin and the insulin receptor communicate better. The more lean mass you have, the more muscle you have, the better insulin is able to communicate to the insulin receptor. So in essence, remember what we said about insulin before? It's a key, and the insulin receptor is a keyhole. So exercise helps the key and the keyhole fit better. The other thing exercise does is it builds muscle. Remember what muscle is? It's one of the largest utilizers of glucose. In other words, your muscle uses vast quantities of glucose to generate energy on a daily basis. The more lean mass you have, right, the less glucose buildup occurs in your bloodstream because your muscle cells are using it. Even for your basic metabolic function, your muscle cells are using it. Why do we need sleep? One of the reasons why we need sleep is if we don't get adequate sleep, there's another hormone that will put the kibosh on this whole system, and that hormone is called cortisol. Without sleep, you have an increase in cortisol. The same thing that happens when you have too much inflammation. And cortisol will travel to your liver, and it will ask your liver to break down its stored sugar, and it will dump more glucose into your bloodstream. So when your cortisol's high, it sends a message to your liver to dump sugar into your bloodstream. And if you're already struggling here with micronutrient deficiencies, this is why inflammation just increases the risk more and more for the development of diabetes. So we need sleep to regulate our cortisol. We need stress management to regulate our cortisol. We need the right food that doesn't cause inflammation to regulate our cortisol. All those things are important. And then we need sunshine, because we got to get vitamin D. This is one of the best ways that we produce vitamin D. So sunshine has kind of a dual effect here, right? It affects your cortisol balance, but it also affects your vitamin D levels. And so sunshine becomes very, very critical for blood sugar management and blood sugar regulation. Now, last I've heard, most doctors tell their patients to avoid the sun for fear of cancer. Did you know that vitamin D deficiency can cause 19 types of cancer? So, you know, your skin docs generally say avoid the sun and lather up with toxic sunscreen compounds that are known to contribute to cancer, while diminishing your body's stores of vitamin D, which is directly linked to 19 different forms of cancer. So to me, that's foolish nonsense. We got to get sunshine. It's critical for human health, critical for blood sugar control and cortisol regulation. So if you understand these things, you can take action. And so when I say diabetes is a lifestyle, right, we can get sunshine. Even if you've got fair skin, you can get sunshine to the limit that your skin is capable of tolerating it. You can go to bed on time. You can make sure you're eating nutrient-dense foods that don't create inflammation so that you're well nourished. And you can mitigate your stress to the best of your ability. And we all have stress that we can't control, but we also all have stress that we can control. So your job, your homework, is to find those areas of stress that you can control and get them under control. Hey, don't forget to check out the rest of the series right here. Make sure you hit subscribe below. And as always, thanks for tuning in.